What's up, people? So we're back in the Grey Goose today. Um, so I don't know what it is about like these cars. I don't know if people just don't take care of these or what, but this I think needs an engine now. Long story short, I went out and bought new cam hold downs because the old ones, well, were broken. Um, See what you don't want is you don't want pieces broken off and scoring and cracks and all sorts of that good stuff. Well, so I went and bought good used ones. So I went through this whole thing and I bumped the motor over just fine, put the rock arms all back in. There's 3 that kept popping out. I put them back in, put these cam hold downs on, went to crank the motor over. It cranked over one time and stopped. And I was like, what the heck? So naturally I come out here thinking, okay, dead battery. But I'm like, I just cranked it over before that. So I got my breaker bar on there, and the motor will spin over 180 degrees each way, and then it just stops. And you can hear something hit on the driver's side. So I took the valve cover, well, the valve cover was off, but I looked down the valve cover and saw that the chain guide was broken. It was all full of slack, and I was like, all right, maybe something was down in there and got stuck. So I pull all the stuff apart, find out there's a rock arm on the driver or passenger side that was sitting in the bottom of the head, and pull it all apart, and I find this. I find tons of pieces of the chain guide up there, down in the oil pan. This has been bad for a while. There's metal shavings all over this. That chain guide is broken. That one's broken. That one, bottom one's about ready to fall off. So I pull all these pieces out thinking, okay, because it was all wedged down in there. I'm like, okay, it probably just got wedged into the chain. Nope, it still will not move 180. So obviously those 3 pieces there, the chain guide goes from here all the way down to there, so there's still pieces down there. So I pulled out every single rocker arm and spark plug on both sides, and the number 3 spark plug on the driver's side, and piston to spark plug issue. Just gotta find which one it was here. Yeah. That's how it came out. That has been physically touched. So, none of the spark plugs were, there's 2 spark plugs that were tight on both sides. 2 over here and none anywhere else were tight. The rest were all finger loose. Not sure why. I'm amazed it didn't fly out when I had the motor running a couple of times. So my thought here is that somehow when I put the cam hold downs on, it had to have opened the valve up enough to where I'm thinking that the timing on this was off a little bit, because the camshaft would lift up a little bit with those 2 cam hold downs being broken, so the valve wouldn't be all the way down. I got a feeling when I put those 2 cam hold downs on, it opened one of the valves up just enough, and the timing is off just enough from being broken. When I cranked it up, it contacted and slapped the valve. Now, the odd thing is, I measured all the valve stems that you can see, and they're all the same length. So then I got thinking, okay, maybe the starter, something on there is broken where it's only letting it go halfway. But when you back it off 180 and hit the starter, it'll still kick it over 180 until it stops. So I am thinking a valve has come in contact with the piston. So I'll be getting the borescope out here later and dropping it down in there and seeing if one of them hit, because something here is just not right. And I did think, though, here's what my kind of conclusion is to this whole car. I think the timing chains took a crap, and I think all that junk got stuck in the oil pickup tube, which caused an oil pressure loss to both sides of the head, which caused, because those cam hold downs are also scored beyond belief. So I think it lost oil pressure to the top of the motor, and I think that it scored the shit out of the cams and the cam hold downs. Because there was no oil pressure, it kicked out rocker arms on both sides, causing misfires. And then I think when they took it to whoever they took it to, I think that he took all the spark plugs out and looked at them and then realized, oh, it needs timing chains and everything else and camshafts now and an oil pump and blah, 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 blah. And I think he tore up all those connectors when he got the valve covers off. Then I think from sitting for 2 years, the fuel pump just simply was seized from all the ethanol in it. And that's where I'm at. That's what I kind of think happened. So, easy solution, buy an engine for a couple $100 off Marketplace, drop it in here, and bam, be done. Hard solution is pull the head off, or heads, take the engine all the way apart. Not the whole way, but at least enough to get the oil pan off, get a new pickup tube and oil pump put in there, pull the heads off, see what got messed up, maybe go and buy an engine, take the heads off and put on here, buy a timing set, put all this shit back together, and go from there. Honestly, engines for these, like I got the engine for this car for $200, and quite honestly, I don't feel like doing an engine job anymore because I just did one. But I'm literally not that far away from just, taking it out. So, next step would be pull the intake off, pull the heads off, take a gander, and then go from there. And if, well, I shouldn't say next step. Next step's the borescope. Now, if I don't see anything in the borescope, then I'll jack or pull the starter out and try and crank it over my hand again. Because, like I say, I'm not really sure what's going on. I also never thought to see if maybe it's not fully in park and the rotation is actually drive shaft moving part way until it hits the rear wheels. It's in park, but I wonder if it's not actually in park. I got some more things to check, we'll put it like that. Either way, minimum, it's going to need a timing set, an oil pickup tube, oil pump, oil pan gasket. Camshafts are just completely gawked and marred to all hell. That is just metal shavings like all over in here from that on both sides. And it went into the head, so again, I am also kind of wondering if that marred it into the head enough to open the valves up just enough to hit the pistons. So, I mean, really should get an engine, in my opinion, or at least heads. But like I say, I mean, for, you're going to spend $200-300 on a set of heads for this thing. And then all the lash adjusters, which are they're basically lifters. They're all bad, not all, but most of them are bad too. If you actually take them out and compress them, they're not good. There's metal all through the engine. I mean, the whole front cover of this thing, that is all metal shavings all over in this thing, everywhere. So, I mean, really it'd probably be faster and cheaper just to buy a motor for it. Even if that's not what the problem is, even if it is the starter's lock and whatever, just the amount of work this needs, could I do it? Yeah. Should I do it? No. Is it worth doing it? Probably not. Don't really feel like pulling the motor out, but at the same point, I mean, I pulled all the rock arms out on both sides. Pan has to come off, which that's going to be a pain in the ass to do with the K-member in. Have to try and jack the motor up, and that's really not going to be a logical answer because you really can't jack the motor up in these two wells. So, I mean, I don't know. It might just get a motor. Might be faster to get a motor for it. But that's an update for this thing. I think it's like August 3rd or something like that. I don't know. But, yeah, so we'll get there. We'll get her done eventually. Just, takes, well, that took 8 months to get that done. But, it's getting there. Oh, one thing, though, I did get for this car, that I decided on my build for this car officially. I have decided to go with the BBK. Well, it's going to get a PI intake, which I ordered. Real PI intake. And then I got this for $140 off of Marketplace. It's used, but it's like brand new. This is a 78mm BBK throttle body in plenum. So it's going to get a PI intake, which is just a stock intake. This one has that crappy Dorman replica junk. With this, it's going to get an air raid Kohler intake, so actually will match that, not be a little tiny job. That's going to get stage 4 or stage 3 cams in it. And then a tune, and then we'll see what that does. And we'll have a nice driving car. Will it be fast? Not really. But will it be cheap? Yes. And end of the day, that was a budget build car, just to have a nice street car. So that's what that plan is. Gotta still put that in yet. You know, just endless projects here. But so that's an update in this junker. But but I got the interior like 95% all done. It's kind of hard. Well, that camera sucks. Okay, well, anyway, I cleaned this out. Wow, that's really bad. Okay, well, this footage is terrible, but just take my word on it. Like, I cleaned the absolute hell out of this car. There you go. She's spotless clean in here, and it really turned out nice. I got my radio for it yet, and then I gotta fix this door pull that breaks on. But everything else in here is like really super nice, and that's where I'm kind of torn. I really don't want to, park this car out or anything, and got them taillights on there, and I mean it's coming along nice. And I don't really want to sell the car or part it out or anything. I found a guy actually with a front bumper and a fender for this thing that are mineral gray. I might go and pick up. But I don't know. It turned into a little more of a project than I anticipated. Was not expecting the timing chains to be broken. Well, guides and shit to be broken, but 185,000 miles on an 02. They look original. They probably are. So that's it for now. I gotta go. I'm gonna go to bed. You guys have a good day or night, and we'll talk to you later.